Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ryan Eastman coming to you live for Game 4 of the FBA Finals here in the Prism Palace, home of the Santa Ana Spectrums. Joining me in the booth tonight is Christopher Whalen. How you doing tonight, Christopher?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you tonight?
I am doing excellent after last night's game. Brought some life back into this series. We have at least a guaranteed 5 games, no sweep this finals. Looking to see if the Spectrums can tie it up and send us back to Biloxi tied at 2-2.
Absolutely. This is a critical game for both teams here. Um, Santa Ana looking to tie it up, and Biloxi hoping to get that 3-1 advantage moving back to home court next game.
Oh yes, if the Biloxi can manage to steal this game tonight, I personally have. Oh, I'm gonna throw my money at them to win it in 5. I have a little bit of a bet with Donovan regarding how the
Oh yeah.
series will end, but
I'll contest that and say Santa Ana in 7.
oh wow, okay, you
Yeah.
want a drama.
Oh yeah. No, I love me some drama on the court.
But back to the game 4 here. Uh, if it were to swing BLV's favor, the momentum has to go their way at that point. Really, Santa Ana, they've shown grit. They had a great game 2. They came very close to stealing one themselves on the road. But Biloxi has shown last night that they too are not afraid to push it to the wire in a hostile environment. It really came down to the end. Santa Ana only just pulling away thanks to a few missed shots and those free throws as the Voodoo tried to come back. And in the end, I think the game had like 20 lead changes last night,
Yeah.
which I feel bad for our statisticians trying to keep track of all that.
Well, it's interesting because I was just telling another colleague of mine. I wonder if we would be 2-1 now if Santa Ana had started the series. So if we started in Santa Ana, I think by the end of Game 3 we were seeing a little bit of fatigue from Biloxi. And if the stadiums had been switched, I wonder if they would have pulled away with an extra game.
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, the Spectrums came in a little cold game 1. I could have easily seen had they not. I want to call it the luxury of being on the road. Had they started at home like that, I think we still would be at the situation of 2-2 in favor of the Voodoo, uh, just at home for them, because the Spectrums did not necessarily impress me aside from Tyrese game 1, and I think a little bit of that was some hangover fatigue from that game 7 series they had to go through to make it here to the finals.
Right. Well, that's assuming that Santa Ana wins tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. And any final thoughts before we kick it down to the court?
Just that I'm super excited to see what happens tonight. We're on the precipice of greatness, as it were, and this pivotal moment can swing favor in either team's direction.
Yeah, and I think I do see the players heading on down now. And the tip-off will go the Voodoo's way. Last game, I was impressed to see Lowenthal finally kind of step up in this series. He put up 19 points total. Anyone you're keeping an eye on tonight?
Well, I'd like to see really kind of a repeat performance from Angun here. His performance last night was kind of incredible, and if he can keep that up for another night, it will definitely leverage Santa Ana into a good position.
We saw the first possession there for the Voodoo. It took a few shot attempts. Derek corralling his own miss, in fact, to get the first bucket on the board. And I do think with we need to see him come out as dominant as he was. We saw game 2 pick it up and get on a roll, and he carried that through the third game. But I think the difference maker for them was the fact that Jin Sun Lee finally was able to give that help that Aditya needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we say time and time again, basketball isn't played by just one player. No matter how good they are, you have to have that support of your team behind you.
Yeah, and I think that gives Biloxi a little bit of advantage with their bench play. And great defensive stop there coming out from Tyrese. The block, and speaking of the Black Bear, he has a lane to the basket, and he takes blood, putting Santa Ana up by 2 here in the early goings. Vilcasitis tried to get it going early with a couple quick shots and not really finding much. The Wolf, but a quick steal from Sterling. Person who arguably Defensive Player of the Year contender every year and gets the second chance bucket after the steal, but field goal percentage not great for them tonight so far, 2 of 8. Christopher, anyone on the spectrums besides from Aditya, stepping up that you are keeping an eye on here?
Well, I think, I'm always a big fan of JC Gold. Coming into his the end of his 4th year here, it's been really great to see kind of his career blossom a little bit, and I'm hoping that I kind of almost expect that he might be a breakout player in the next year or two. Hopefully, this series will be a little bit of a preview for that.
Yeah, a player that maybe had a little too much pressure put on him too early. I mean, obviously, the drafted to the Arizona Whips had a bit more room in terms of being one of the better players coming in as a rookie, and maybe not having the same kind of expectations he faced in Seattle, where you saw they pretty quickly moved on from him and moved him down here to Santa Ana, where he had to take more of a 6th fur role this year, and he's had a bit of a maturity, an opportunity to mature this year as a player. And we'll have to see how that continues to develop for him.
Well, and it's true. Some players just don't gel with certain teams, and sometimes the coaches recognize that early on.
Yeah, and Aditya, he could have driven to the basket, but he decided to pull up and misses the shot. We're back the other way now with Voodoo, a chance to add a little bit onto this lead as they find a favorable matchup in the post. But, Aditya did manage to get a paw on the way up, but Sterling, Polecat still able to corral the loose ball and get it up in the air. Back on the other end, Tyrese, quick pass over to Aditya. Chiara call for the screen, wide open 3 off of the screen, but no good. Biloxi take it back the other way once again after a missed opportunity, but no good. Vilca trying to drive the paint and not able to get it to drop. Both teams now starting to struggle just a bit. Aditya, difficult shot, fading away from beyond the arc off of a screen. Not a high percentage shot attempt, but River, the sea parts for the deer as he just drives to the basket and elevates for the dunk. And Sepa on the other end, again, left so open.
I was going to say Biloxi's pulling away here, but, Santa Ana with the response.
And that was just a fast play, but Biloxi got a little bit too involved in pumping themselves up after the River dunked to notice Seba. The quick change of pace.
They hit that 5-point threshold.
Look, I expect you to write a book about this, analyzing the Voodoo and their...
The Voodoo win with plus or minus 5 points. They lose with plus or minus 5.
They win minus 5 points. They lose plus 5 points.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Santa Ana answers another bucket. Alley-oop to Sterling, but no. He tried to
Oh.
tap it in between two defenders. And Kim, okay, goodness. Both teams, neither of them able to find some consistency. And it's going to be Kim with the double clutch around the otter, able to get the bucket. Both teams, they make mistakes, but then quickly make up for it with steals, and turnovers abound.
I think both teams just had a little bit of a wake-up call there, going, wait, hold on, we should be playing basketball, not volleyball.
I mean, Kiara for three, wide open off the play, but Tyrese, the Otter, stretches out far for that second chance opportunity, and he is going to draw a foul, so he'll head to the line for two.
This could be a really great place for Santa Ana to make up some of that deficit.
What we saw last night, Santa Ana head to the line 20 points from the free throw line compared to Biloxi's, I believe, 8 at the end of the night. That was more than enough to make the score swing in the Spectrum's favor. So we'll have to see if they continue to attack the post like they did last night. I mean, we saw Sterling hit 5 fouls early in the third quarter, and it was very concerning, or very late in the third quarter. It was very concerning that he may actually have fouled out, but he managed to hold it together for the game.
Yeah, the points from the charity stripe can make or break a game, and Biloxi really has to be careful tonight, or else if they keep playing as aggressively as they have been, they're going to basically hand the game to Santa Ana.
I mean, does Biloxi have a setting other than aggressive?
Well, there's like semi-aggressive, there's aggressive, and then everyone's playing like Sterling.
I mean, I don't think the refs can handle everyone playing like Sterling.
No, the stench would be awful.
Oh, God. Well, with that, we saw Santa actually call a timeout pretty quickly after Sterling was able to make a second chance bucket, and that's why he matters so much to have on the floor. But on the other end, both teams, I've noticed tonight, giving up offensive rebounds. That was Lee coming in off the miss, and the putback was perfect despite the defense all over him.
Well, again, and there's that little bit of exhaustion there. You're playing these high stakes games, kind of almost rapid fire back and forth, and you're especially in game 4 or game 5, you're going to start to miss those little moments where you might be able to, snag the ball before your opponent.
And speaking of mistakes, that bucket came from the benefit of Seba getting an intercepted pass down low in the post. So we're going to see another trip to this charity stripe, this time for Biloxi. And you have to consider, okay, this season started with preseason games. Then
Right.
that moved into an 80-game season. And here we are, both these teams, neither of them managed to sweep any of their rounds. So they played anywhere from 5 to 7 games a round. So really, at this point, they played over 100 games this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't even play 100 minutes without getting winded.
Can you play 100 seconds without getting winded is the question.
I mean, is the basketball a giant cake?
Please don't bring back that meme of slicing into something that looks like a real object, but it's actually cake. Because I'm sure that ball might be a cake for all I know. We will see Malone coming on the floor. The shenanigans have to stop now that the old man's on the floor.
You rookies, get off my lawn.
Well, I mean, there is a rookie facing off against him right now, the Ram, calling for the screen, but he's going to take up the three as the shot clock started to become his enemy there. Unable to get it, though. A little bit outside his range. He can hit it occasionally, but not consistently to be a threat. Sterling once again matching up against Aditya off the screen.
Just making it look easy.
I mean, it is easy at that point. And Santa Ana, I want to see. I know they're worried. Biloxi can extend the defense so well all the way down the lineup, but they just have to be willing to give an open look for even a second just to give Aditya some help there.
Yeah, hashtag anyone but Aditya.
Lee. But the other Lee Evans, elevating for the dunk there. quickly a 6-point lead building, and maybe Santa Ana wants to call another timeout soon if this continues. Not able to get it going. He keeps driving the basket, fighting for the ball, and okay, the Lion may have been the one to tap it out, but I don't think the crowd can really cheer for that because Aditya almost lost the ball there.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw last game was those aggressive plays to the post left them open for a lot of turnovers. But there we go, off the inbound. No need to dribble when you just get handed the ball under the basket.
See, that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, wow. Quick plays like that with the shot clock winding down, Biloxi has to know about that. And once again, easy lay-in from the Great Dane. Keeping it at 6 here. As we see bench players trickling onto the floor. Obviously, Aditya and Kim still out there. We've seen both teams try and mitt a match against one another. They can't really afford to put, for Santa Ana's sake, a rookie up against him, or Ronan London, who struggled a bit. And for Santa Ana, after how strong of a showing he's had, they can't afford to put anyone other than Kim on him.
Well, and that's where the strategy comes in. Like, you know, we talked about last time I was here how, especially in their bench, Santa Ana is a much younger team, a much more inexperienced team than the Voodoo. And so they're not going to have all of that perception, all of that kind of muscle memory to deal with some of the situations Biloxi's putting them in.
Yeah, I mean, most of their experience, high school and college, does not surmount to these players who have been in the league 7-6 years minimum. Kim unable to make the first and unable to convert the second either. 2 missed opportunities there. Now, the other starter on the floor for Santa Ana is Tyrese, and he had an absolutely explosive game 1. Quiet. I say quiet. He still put up 10 points, I think, in both game 2 and 3, but nowhere near as productive as game 1. I want to see him continue to attack the post, as we saw there, the and 1 converted by the Otter.
I mean, you can have relative quiet. You know, the benchmark isn't player by player. It's your own sort of performance in the game.
That's true. I mean, you want to, if you're taking smart shots, if I was a coach, which, I mean, God help them if they ever hire me as a coach, if you're taking smart shots, I'm not going to care so much if you miss. It's when you take silly shots, even if you make it, that's 1 out of 10, congrats, unless it wins us the game as a buzzer beater. I don't want to see that shit on the floor.
Yeah.
Speaking of mismatches, Tyrese against Derek, but at least Elcom is there, but not able to get over quick enough to offer some defensive help. Santa Ana is at least keeping it within this 3-point range, but Biloxi is not willing to blink either as they constantly answer back with a bucket of their own. Derek jinxed him a little bit there as he did a step back, and now we're going to see Gold with the ball. Hook shot against the Bird, and that's his second foul as the first quarter is going to come to a close shortly. Not necessarily worrying too much about his fouls at the moment, but got to keep an eye on them as well. Aditya can draw contact consistently, and if they lose their point, that would be a massive blow to this Voodoo tonight.
Well, Santa Ana's already in a bonus situation. We're not even in the second quarter yet, so that kind of speaks to how aggressively Biloxi's been playing.
And we'll see Malone, and actually Reed Carter coming in for Kim, as both teams now giving their point guard a little bit of rest after employing them pretty much the entire first quarter there. Anyone but Malone. Who else but to take the final shot of the quarter? No good. I mean, Tyrese, the Otter will throw it up and, ooh, double bounce, but out. Just like that, the first quarter comes to a close. Despite Biloxi having built a 7-point lead earlier, it's going to be a 1-point game heading into the second quarter, 27-26, favoring Biloxi.
It's interesting because I'm seeing these plays that they're trying to execute here in Game 4 that they were very like tightly knit, tightly executed in Game 1. There's a bit more loose kind of looseness to this play that we're seeing here, and I think that's partly where wow.
You say looseness as the Ram just shakes and bakes his defender free and dunks it in to start the game, the second quarter of the game.
That's one way to challenge my color commentary. I swear he pointed up to the booth before he did that.
Well, I'm a little concerned that he has the earpiece in. I mean, that's against the rules. And Carter going to answer back, pulling it down for the double clutch, able to convert it, pulling the lead back in Biloxi's favor. We might see a bit of a back and forth lead change here as both teams now employing their benches. Spectrums have had one or two players each night step up, but it's been different furs each time. We saw Aquino in Game 1, Gold in Game 2, and back to Aquino in Game 3. And actually, Tyrese is still on the floor, and how much pressure are they going to put on this Otter in terms of the minutes? He has not had a chance to rest tonight so far.
Well, when you're down a game at home in Game 4, like you're gonna be looking to kind of push your starters a little more. I think, really press Biloxi early on, get them worn out a little bit, and then you can he'll get a rest in quarter 4 as the Spectrums come back and sweep the rest of the game or something like that.
Well, Aquino wants to get it done himself as he just does a little teardrop. The rookie pulling out all the moves. It was a dunk earlier, now it's a teardrop. Taking the lead back for the Spectrums, and you do have to wonder in terms of how much rest he will get before the second half. This game is close. You can't afford to have your anchor on defense start to slack off, especially against the physical play, but Lagerstrom going to come up with a steal and instantly over to the Ram, down to London, one-on-one against Carter. Off the board, no good. He's going to get the miss. Take a second opportunity in the battle for the rebound. Malone will come out on top there. Over to Carter. He's had 2 buckets tonight so far. He's going to call for the screen. Up against Gold now, having to back out to the perimeter, and it's going to be Evans against Ronan. But Tyrese is there to at least help, but doesn't matter as he just fades away over the defense. And this game is not separated by 1 point in the past since the first dunk of the contest. Second half, I should say. Second quarter. Goodness, I've lost my mind already, and it's only been 12 minutes in this game.
I've been losing my mind all series.
Well, Mark Cantor III will get called for the foul, and we'll see Santa Ana head back to the line 4-2. As I think finally we're going to see a bit of rotation. I see Chiara and Vilka coming back in, and actually a few starters for both teams sneaking back on the floor, but I think their rotations are all over the place as they're trying to make adjustments as they see each other making substitutions to bring other players back on the floor to better match them. And quick! Oh, Reed Carter not able to corral the alley-oop attempt. It'll be Hughes from the right sideline, no good. Second 3 missed for her tonight, I believe. It's Vilka. Third 3 missed tonight. Oh,
yeah.
But River will clean up the missed shot.
See, not that I'm keeping track or anything.
Well, it's not. I don't think we've had a single 3 tonight, have we?
No. Well, no. I don't think we have.
I mean, the score is definitely climbing quite quickly. Talking about fast-paced play, despite not having any 3s falling to help elevate the score. Another miss there. Quick play down to West Penrod. Oh, I take that back. We've had a 3-pointer, but through and 1 opportunities, which we'll now see another attempt at here. And Seba coming back on the floor. Even though Kim and Aditya still on the bench trying to catch their breath after playing the majority of that first quarter. Pinrod good. Kiara will lead the offense for the Spectrums on this play. Over to Carroll. Driving the paint, behind the back pass to Seba, but he decides to back it back out to the perimeter, which, as you have mentioned, not been an area of success for them tonight. So she'll drive the paint, but off the back iron, no good. But for River driving the paint, oh, he'll actually get a foul there. I thought for sure he was going to dunk it in, but Carroll comes over and impacts his shot just enough. Just like that, the Biloxi Voodoo have once again built a 6-point lead, but we saw that evaporate pretty quickly earlier this game. Jinsung backing down the post, but turning around for the fadeaway, no good. And don't you think around this time Santa Ana will be thinking about calling a timeout? Their offense has gone a bit cold here.
Well, I think right now their coach is trying to figure out like what is even going on. You know, trying to figure out what might be the best strategy here. But like you, I'm surprised that they haven't called that timeout yet.
Well, especially now that we're seeing Biloxi get more trips to the charity stripe here tonight. They're getting aggressive in the post, and I mean, obviously the fans not happy that the fouls are getting called, but the Spectrum's defense is just not set up enough to get a good paw on the ball without drawing contact. And Jinsung will break that cold streak, hitting a quick basket.
You know, and we talk about both these teams being very aggressive on offense, but as you know, they are starting to get tired out. That defense that may not be as shored up as it could be is really starting to show as both teams find chinks in the other team's armors.
And we're back to the second chance opportunities. River cleaning up the board there. And I definitely think that both teams struggling with boxing out here for the first time really in the series. I want to see the second half, when we get to the half, how many offensive rebounds both these teams have given up, because I feel like they've easily given up 5 or 6 offensive rebounds each tonight so far. As once again, this time it's Vuk trying to block Lowenthal from behind, will send the Griffin to the line for 2.
A lot of missed points here at the free throw line for Lowenthal today.
I mean, both teams, and we saw Kim miss 2 earlier. I mean, that was the real shock, I think.
Yeah.
So, obviously both teams, but there we go. Apparently I just need to talk badly about Kim and he'll just steal the ball. Or
Well,
at least
you know,
get
those earpieces are working wonders for them.
That they are. And Kiara for 3. Okay, finally we can cross that off our bingo card for the night. A 3 has been made.
By Hughes, no less.
I mean, it took 4 attempts, but there we go. And getting the crowd at least a murmur of excitement for a bit there, but we'll have to see if they can get a stop on defense. But River does not care about your success. He's just going to take his points. And there we go. And Spectrum's timeout finally.
Yeah, there it is. About 2 minutes too late, but
I mean,
maybe they just want to put more points on the board before they called it.
To be fair, they did make an offensive substitution. We saw Aditya coming back on the floor, and we did see a 3 quickly come out, but maybe the coach just wasn't happy with what he saw on defense that last possession, because I mean, River just bullied his way to the post once again. Down to Carroll. Ooh, Aditya with the court awareness. He saw the defense starting to close in on him, and he just hands it off to Carroll as she drives the paint.
Big 2 points for Santa Ana right there.
Yeah, they want to get some momentum going. A stop here and a basket would be huge for them for this quarter to get back in their possession. They were up a few times, but only by a single point. And again, River was in position for an offensive board there, but it's going to be Kiara. Oh, I think a dunk there would have been appropriate, but she decides just to go with the finesse play, and there we have it. Back within a single possession.
There's something to be said for, you know, having an open lane and just putting it with grace and decorum.
This is our dunk contest champion, though. I want to see some fireworks.
That's fair.
Then again, I guess if she missed there, she might never be able to show her face in this town again.
Yeah, or at the All-Star game.
Well, Seba, or not Seba, Velka for the three, no good. It's going to dish out to Lothal after River pulled in the board. And right there we see again, Sterling. They were not boxing him out effectively at all, but thankfully the ball did not go his way. And I'm not even sure how River pulled down that board. He had two people around him, and Deere just better timed his jump. Back to Kiara. Shot clock winding down. She's got to take this shot. It's a fadeaway two. Not even a good base setup there from hers. Shot clock became her enemy. Sterling against his favorite matchup in the post. And at least there we saw Seba putting a wing up, but Sterling brushed it off no issue. Jensung fading away. Sterling gonna get the board right now. A spark of light from Santa Ana snuffed out instantly, it seemed like. Oh, goodness, Sterling shooting lights out tonight. 12 points so far and shooting above 80% from the field.
Well, I mean, Sterling only has to just, like, stretch, and he can tap the ball right in.
Well, especially with Tyrese not on the floor, he's not really being challenged as much as I'd like down in the post. But he had been quiet last game, obviously getting foul trouble limited some of his minutes. So glad to see him able to come out tonight and actually have an impact so early in this game in an area besides defense. I mean, we saw him with the block earlier. Santa Ana needing to answer back here as Aditya draws the third foul against Kim. Now, to be fair, Kim, this is near the end of the second quarter, so it's not the end of the world. But if you were to get a fourth one, I'd be very concerned here. See another missed free throw, but a make on the second. And actually, they're going to sub Vilka out. He's been a little cold tonight, so they're going to bring the veteran Malone back on the floor to end this quarter. I don't blame them for that decision. Seba. Tyrese is open, but he decides to take it himself. The Toucan getting the best of Dylan. Able to lay it up and in.
This will bring us to a 2-point game.
And, ooh, Shelley trying to be a little bit aggressive against Dylan there. Not able to get the ball, but that actually sends him to the charity stripe because of the bonus situation. That is unfortunate. I don't think Shelley really kept track of how many fouls they had given up this quarter so far.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a silly mistake.
Well, and like I said before, the game could come down to the points given here in the stripe.
Hell, Dylan good there. Keno. Go ahead.
You can't allow Biloxi to just get free points like that.
No, especially not a player that, was in position to take a shot. At least Aditya will bring it back within two. And, I mean, his first quarter, nowhere near lights out like we had seen before, but still being productive. Kim down to Sterling and a foul from behind Tyrese. That's at least an appropriate foul. I mean, Sterling was about to dunk that in. At least he prevented the ball from going down and forcing him to earn it from the charity stripe. Good on the first. And good on the second. So, Santa Ana unable to break this tit for tat right now as the game clock heads under 1 minute here.
I really want to see Santa Ana push a little hard here. Try to maybe either close that gap or, if they can take that lead before the end of the period.
Well, that's one way to do so. The block coming out against Malone there. Great defensive stop in transition, but I got to take a difficult shot, but oh, he's starting to feel it. And if you're the Voodoo, you have to be worried about that. That was not an easy shot. He was fading away out of bounds, and he hit that jumper with no backboard to assist him.
Well, and I think we're going to see him kind of make those clutch plays, especially in this series. He's always been known for pulling Santa Ana through some tough spots.
That last shot will belong to Santa Ana. A chance to tie it here. What are they going to go with? They're going to go Tyrese, and Tyrese easily bullying his way through Malone and tying it up here.
Tyrese.
Don't make me. Do not make me. Well, with that, the first half comes to a close with a surprising run from Santa Ana to tie it up at 54 apiece. It was looking a little bit desperate there for them a bit as they were falling behind. And as you saw there, quick flash by, 4 blocks coming out from Santa Ana. The fact that they've had those key defensive stops, especially we saw there against Malone, that gave them that first spark to get back in this game. Tying it up, being down by 6, other than being in the lead right now, I'm a happy Spectrum player right now if I was them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially as you're trailing for the first half. Tying it up at the buzzer means that, you can almost forget about what's happened so far and just go in with kind of like a fresh attitude, really try to, okay, we caught back up, now let's keep that momentum and keep moving forward.
It's a new game for the Spectrums. I mean, restart. It's game's tied. You just have to win the next 24 minutes and you're good. And as we see here, it's been a game by committee tonight as pretty much all the starters, even some of the top bench players, have been putting up the points. There's no one player that has really jumped out ahead of anyone. And, I mean, that's worked for them here tonight. It's just that the Voodoo have been so lights out, especially with all those second chance opportunities despite starting 2 for 8. I think they finished the first half well above 50%. As we will dive over to them now. And like I said, I want to see these offensive boards because right there, Lowenthal has 2. Kim has an offensive board. But for the Voodoo, it has been Sterling getting it done on offense with 14 points. And again, he is stepping up where the rest of the starters are struggling a bit tonight.
Well, even like I said, you see Lowenthal taking shots from the free throw line, 2 for 4.
Mm-hmm. And River assisting along Sterling, putting up 12. It's been the post play that has kept the Voodoo in it.
I'm surprised Malone hasn't hit any of his baskets tonight so far.
I mean, to be fair, he did get blocked pretty badly in that last minute. So he's had a very good defense draped all over him tonight, and they're responding to his performance in the first 3 games where he has been a factor coming off the bench. They could not afford to play lax defense against the veteran. He's shown why he still belongs in this league right now.
And, Santa Ana's been really smart about just kind of keeping him shut down so far.
Yep, and here we go. Second half starting, game tied. Kiara, she hit her 3 earlier, but this time she steps just inside the line for 2. Maybe we'll see a bit of action coming out from her in this second half. If she can get it going, I think the Spectrums can close out this game. But Kim left wide open, just laying it up and in. Both teams will see what adjustments they made here. If you're the Voodoo, what was discussed in the locker room about what they need to change for the second half?
Stop sucking? No, just kidding. I mean, clearly both teams are pushing hard and they're doing well. You you're going to keep pushing for those mismatches, and I think that's really where where Santa Ana's given a lot of their points up in the first half. We talk about Addy versus Sterling, but there have been a couple other kind of mismatch opportunities that Biloxi is definitely taking advantage of, and if you can keep leveraging those in the second half, that's going to be, I think, their key to winning the game tonight.
Alley oop to Sterling, a little too much power behind it. Ooh. Uh, I agree. I think Seba showing Sterling how it's done with the dunk there, getting the crowd on their feet, and the team as well. They're excited for the Toucan. I mean, if I'm Biloxi, looking at how Santa Ana has played, there's no one player they can say, okay, look, we need to stop this person, because everyone has been getting it done for the Spectrums tonight. Whereas on offense, it really has been a two-man show. And if anything, I'm maybe saying, okay, let's try and get some open plays. Let's get some players, get them open looks, get them going. I mean, Kim fighting his way to the post there with defense draped all over him, able to make the bucket. I think he is trying to make a little bit more of an impact in this game in the second half. Whereas if you're the Spectrums, I feel like you need to find a way to shut down Sterling and River. They just can't afford to keep letting those two big furs bully them in the post.
Yeah, I mean, and this could be why we've seen Sterling kind of take a little bit of a backseat in the last game, was that get Santa Ana used to maybe him being a little less forceful, and then just have him go all out on them.
I mean, I don't know if Sterling has that level of restraint to not be as impactful as he can be. I mean, definitely, I feel like in games 1 and 2, Tyrese was more involved on the defense, and maybe it is fatigue finally setting in, and the Otters starting to struggle to keep up with the Polecat here. Vilka, he's had a cold night, but able to get a bucket there. You see 7 points total, 3 for 10 from the field, though. Hughes missed a 3 earlier. I was a little hopeful because she hit that from the exact same spot not too long ago. And there we go, Sterling blocking the ball out of bounds into the cameraman. 2.4 seconds on the shot clock, though. That's going to be tough for the Spectrums.
Sterling's like, I did my piece. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, go ahead and get him a chance to have a little bit of a break.
Absolutely.
This Gold will inbound to Vaughn, loses the ball, stripped again by Elcom, and they're going to get called for the shot clock violation as the Voodoo end up coming out on top with that defensive stop twice, essentially. And the Voodoo built a 4-point lead here, and now they have the ball once again, and Kim is on the floor, and they have decided to rest Aditya. So they're going to leave it to Ronan to guard the Bird, who is starting to pick up the pace here tonight. And they want to go back to him. They like this matchup, and battling for the ball, but not able to get the offensive board. And there's Gold. The Weasel unable to get it going. Kim River having to juggle the pass down low in the post. And, oh, there we go. We're going to see Lowenthal called for an over the back. Aggressive on the defense, going for those offensive boards. The second chance points have been important for them tonight. But got to be careful about drawing those extra fouls. If you don't have the position for it, it's not worth giving up a free foul to the opponent.
Well, and both these teams are known for taking risks. In those situations, a more I'd say traditional playing team might be a little less uh, aggressive in those situations, but I'm actually not really surprised here.
We see another missed alley-oop attempt for the Voodoo, and it's actually going to be a quick shot from Kiara Hughes. She's not able to find the consistency that you'd like, but she can hit the shot when you least expect it. Now on defense, seeing if she can get the ball, but no, Carter off the double screen, not good. Spectrum's a chance to tie it back up here. Seba wants to challenge, but blocked by River in the post. Ooh, Kiara trying to go for the steal when the Squirrel had his back turned, but called for the contact. So it'll stay down here with Biloxi as they sub in some more of their bench players, giving their starters a chance to rest this final couple minutes of the third quarter. And Seba, he didn't have to jump to block the Squirrel there. And cleaning up the missed shot, but he gets blocked, a victim of his own play, blocked from behind by the Lion. Oh, neither team able to make a basket here. Back to London, fouled. That'll be the first breath we get in the past minute as both teams stepping up on defense.
Running back and forth here.
Yeah, and we talk about, minutes play, and, you can look and say, like, okay, this player tends to play this many minutes a game, but you really have to look at, what is going on during that time. I mean, is it a lot of heavy running back and forth like we're seeing now, or is it this more lax pace of, team makes a basket, okay, defense can just trot their way back down the line, or are they having to sprint full court back and forth? Because your stamina can get absolutely wrecked far sooner than you'd expect. There's a reason why they make them do the suicide sprints in practice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's probably why we're seeing some of these substitutions that are happening here. Giving these starting players just even a minute or two off the court might be that way to kind of sustain their stamina for just a little longer.
We're going to see Tyrese against the line down the post, trying to pump fake, trying to draw anything, and he ends up just going for it with the hook shot and able to convert it. And we see there Tyrese matching River at least in points tonight, which you have to expect from these two. They need to be able to keep pace with one another as key factors for both their teams. It's going to be Malone double teamed, the clutch, able to pull it down, and we see a bit of a disparity between the two teams now. Santa Ana's not able to keep pace at the moment, and they're struggling a bit here to start this second half. Vuk, quick dive to the paint, gets rewarded with a basket, and it's only been because of turnovers and second chance opportunities that the Spectrums are even still 1 point down, despite their bad
absolutely.
shooting.
They're definitely pushing as hard as they can, and that actually might be contributing to their their slow scoring here. Is that they might almost be pushing a little too hard. They're taking those shots maybe a little too early, or as we've seen a couple times now, taking them a little bit too late, and then suddenly realizing, oh, the shot clock is a thing. I better throw the ball out before we get, called for it.
It's only been a thing for like 3 decades at this point. I mean, I can forgive them forgetting about it.
Oh yeah, sure.
But we see, and it may be that the team has been forced to play to the pace of, ooh, that's a smart play from the Otter there. He drew the Lion up in the air on the pump fake, and he just leaned into it for the contact to go to the line for 2. Now saying we saw last night the Voodoo had to play to the Spectrum's tempo, and it threw them slightly off in the end. The Spectrums came out on top, but it seems tonight it's been mostly the Voodoo who have dictated the pace of play, and I'd like to see the Spectrums, maybe even slow it down a bit. Make it so even in these fast play opportunities that you take the best shot you can. As you see, the Voodoo forcing it there a bit, trying to answer back as the Spectrums have built up a lead here. And another foul. Voodoo might want to consider calling timeout after this. They're letting this suddenly slip away.
Well, and I think we're probably going to see Santa Ana hit a 5-point lead for the first time this game. There it is.
Yeah, and it's off number 5, JC Gold, the player you commented on, getting them the lead they have now, and a block there. Another opportunity to add to this lead. It's a 2-on-1 fast break. Tyrese is going to do it himself, though. The Otter up by 7 now.
You can see that Santa Ana's finally finding their rhythm, and there's that timeout right there.
Oh, they only just watched Santa Ana put up 7 straight.
Both these teams being very stingy with their timeouts a little bit this game, I think.
I mean, I understand, you trust your players to be able to swing the momentum back in their favor, but this is the finals. Both teams have such clutch players that if you give them an inch, they can start building up a insurmountable, momentum that is very difficult to break. Even a timeout may not even give them a full reset. It's Malone trying to get it done, no good. And if the Spectrums can get another shot here, this might be the game-changing moment for them if they can build up an almost 10-point lead. See, they're double-teaming Tyrese. They know the Otter is the key, and he doesn't care. He just bullies his way through Cantor to the post.
Excuse me. I'm working here.
Is basically, pardon me, I have something I need to do right now. Look, they're already going to sub Aditya back in. They're happy to bring their starters back on the floor to keep this lead in. I would not be surprised if Biloxi needs to honestly call maybe another timeout already.
Oh, right now they need to shoot before the shot clock.
Oh, Malone coming in clutch there with a 3. They weren't even guarding him that tightly because he has not been consistent from there this series.
They were hoping he'd drive it to the basket, and he was just like, "No, I like you downtown."
And a quick block there against the rookie Aquino. It's going to be Carter fighting his way to the post, and a 5-point turnaround for the Voodoo.
Put them back within 2 baskets of reclaiming their lead.
I mean, that 3 gave the Voodoo a breath of fresh air, and now the defense coming through is Malone. He's going to bring them back into this game by himself if needed, as he strips the ball and takes it himself to the basket, but no good. Oh, that would have been, an absolute.
That would have broken it wide open for the Voodoo right there.
Oh, Gold. You highlighted him earlier, and now he's just going to step up and hit a 3 himself, and a strip from Lagerstrom. The Santa Ana does not care about your feelings, Voodoo. They are going to snatch this back immediately as they put up 5 back on top of the Voodoo's run.
Someone ought to tell Biloxi that their Voodoo dolls have run out of batteries. They have to change them up.
I don't know if it's the Voodoo dolls that run out of batteries or if someone lost them in their luggage. But with that, we end the third quarter. Santa Ana up by 9 here after being down by, I think, as much as 6 this quarter.
What an entirely different game we're watching here from the first half. Santa Ana's definitely come alive, matching that Voodoo pace. And like you said, kind of trying to get in the driver's seat for this game.
And we see the Voodoo bringing back out their starters. Kim, always no matter how long he's been on the bench, he comes into the game and pretty much hits the first shot he takes no matter what.
Well, and those right now, it's those baby steps for the Voodoo that will get them back to the lead that they had.
And how do you guard against Jin Sung if he's going to keep hitting fadeaway after fadeaway? I mean, that steals away any kind of momentum you can get. You can say you played the best defense possible, but still able to hit fadeaways like that. Keeps the lead in their favor, and the Voodoo keeping Malone on the floor. I don't blame them. He has been a factor, and there he goes again, calling for the screen, and he is feeling it tonight with a three.
And the Voodoo know that even though they're down a little bit here, the Spectrums were able to pull that lead out of the third quarter. They can easily just turn this back around and reclaim that lead in the next 10 and a half minutes of play.
Yeah, they don't need to be leading in the next minute. They need to be leading in the next 10 and 30 with some change left. So you're right. They can do this slow and steady and pull it back, as we see another bucket there from Kim. We'll see if Santa Ana can answer again.
Force those mismatches with Santa Ana. Really try to get them to make some of the mistakes that we might start seeing in this fourth quarter as everyone is they're 3 periods in. You're going to start getting a little bit even more sloppy play than what we've been seeing tonight.
As we see the Ram challenging Sterling.
Just like that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's not a great matchup. I mean, maybe if he had a bit more momentum to the basket. Now we're going to see Malone getting it done. He's pulling them back inch by inch. Within 4 now, and Santa Ana might want to take a breath here and bring some of those players they have ready to come in. Call a little timeout, make an adjustment. They're going to go to Ditya in the isolation play, no good, and Santa Ana having some kind of answer from Malone. They need to do something as he dishes it to Sterling. Sterling going to get his own miss and the second chance bucket.
I cannot believe that we are already within 2 here.
Santa Ana, I told them that the Voodoo did not need to be leading in a minute, but they are about to be leading in a minute.
Yeah, again, they must be hearing what we're saying or something, because they're just.
Well, you can't count the Voodoo out. They have too much explosiveness on offense, and it's coming from the unlikely source of Malone. But can you really say that Malone's the unlikely source?
No, absolutely not. And let's be fair. The Voodoo have too much pride to let a 9-point deficit happen for very long.
Oh, and they have a chance to tie it here as they get the strip against Aditya as he tried to drive to the post. Defense, crowd. You need to be on your feet, rooting for your team. They need you right now in a foul. Wilson Lowenthal to the line for 2, and he has a chance to officially evaporate what was once a
devastating lead.
I mean, 9 points with 10 minutes left to go is not insurmountable, but in the finals against arguably the best team out of the West, you would want that maybe in the second or third quarter and have more time.
Let's be fair, inarguably, as this is the finals.
The East, arguably, the Voodoo are the best, so in theory they should match. Missed free throw there, though. And Seba, the defense got a little lazy as they're getting excited about the offensive pushback they've had. They just left the Toucan open for the dunk. And Malone on the bench. Only one really hit threes tonight for the Voodoo, but they have quite a few players who can extend the range of the defense, but they just haven't been able to convert tonight.
And this is the shot clock, forcing them to toss the ball away.
And the fact that Sterling even got a paw on that offensive board, despite 2 defenders between him and it, is a cause for concern. They can't afford to let Sterling be getting those opportunities to get those second chance buckets, because he has been converting them Aditya wide open off the screen, not able to get it to fall, but Lowenthal, he has a lane to the basket. A defensive comes over, but Viking unable to get upon it, but no foul called at the very least. But just like that, another 1-point game. It's been a 14-6 run from the Voodoo to get them back in it here.
It's definitely been a little bit of a roller coaster this evening.
Shot clock starting to factor in.
Santa Ana kind of being a little more calculating in their plays again.
Yeah, well, it just comes down to they're trying to let Aditya do it, and right there's the problem. He has gone absolutely cold in this half. And down the Sterling, able to give the Voodoo the first lead they've had in quite a while.
Just tap it right in, sure, no problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. Addy maybe wants to start passing the ball around, but no, he's going to do it himself. Okay, there, he breaks the cold spell, somehow weaving his way through the defense and getting the bucket. Back to back and forth game, trading the lead. Kim, double team, but leaves River open in the paint, and he has the awareness to get him the ball. Just like that. 6 minutes to go. This game is not over yet. Jin Sung, no go on the fadeaway. Kim dishing over to Vilka. Biloxi, an opportunity to build a bit of a lead here. It's going to be Kim. Oh, it traveled the whole perimeter of the rim twice, but falls in, and that's a first three outside of Malone for the Voodoo tonight.
Hey, you know, it doesn't matter how long it takes to go in, as long as it goes in, right?
Well, Lee, those fadeaways not working right now, and it looks like they're going to quickly go the other way, and Kim stopped by Seba, and it's going to be Jin Sung. Ooh, he wants to do a quick shot from beyond the arc, and it actually almost falls, but again, taking a rush shot in the possession, not able to get to Fallen Sterling. Again, second chance opportunity, and he will go to the line for two.
Crowd is not happy here.
I don't know if they're booing the ref or booing the fact that how many offensive boards has Sterling been just allowed to get. And there we go. Tyrese will come back on for the final 5 minutes. He is rested, but now he comes into the game with his team potentially down by 6 here if he makes this last free throw. And it is good. Aditya, he's gone cold. This would be his moment to step up, and no, they're going to go to the Otter. No, back to Otter. Yeah, neither of them really wants to take it. The defense is so smothering. Shot clock. Forced to give it to Aditya for three, and it's no good. That just, they had no play going at all there.
They really need to stop sitting on, these indecisive moments, because I don't know. Maybe the shot clock is seeming short to them or what have you, but they've been in a lot of positions this evening where they could have made something out of nothing, but they just sat there and suddenly had to toss it away.
And Santa Ana, after that miss, we might see Biloxi, after being down by 9, not even 8 minutes ago, put up a 20-point run and get a 10-point lead. But thankfully, Kim, for the Santa Ana Spectrum, is unable to make it. And Tyrese finally able to give the Spectrum some kind of breath of fresh air as he lays it up and in. 6-point game here, but now with only 4 minutes left to go, the Spectrums need to step it up on defense and also on offense.
Yeah, the Spectrums just need to step it up.
Vilka, he's had troubles tonight, but the high arcing shot, able to make it work. 4 for 11, 9 points total, but that basket there coming in at a key time as the clock becomes the factor for the Spectrums, and the ball's lost to Kiara. Oh, she tried to pull her shoulder up in time, but no. She slides out of bounds, and just like that, it goes over to the Voodoo. The Spectrums really do need to call a timeout, I feel like, here after this possession.
Absolutely.
And there we go, another offensive board and second chance bucket coming out for the Voodoo tonight.
I said the charity stripe was going to be where the game was won tonight. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say offensive rebounds for sure have been the key, especially for the Voodoo. That's where a lot of their points have come from is those reshoot opportunities where they're just getting the ball before the Spectrums do.
Yeah, the Spectrums were able to pull it back to a single-digit lead. Kim, he has been lights out this half, 13 points, and just like that, double-digit lead. Spectrums will call timeout. I mean, we saw the Voodoo pull back a nearly double-digit lead in a minute. Can the Spectrums do the same here?
After this game, I'd say anything is possible.
I mean,
We've seen them both do it tonight.
yeah, I mean 6-point deficits, but it's the one thing when you have 2 quarters left to go and you're down by 6, because you're like, okay, I have plenty of time to make this up here and there, but with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, down by what amounts to 4 possessions, that's a tough cookie to crack, to find that,
really
where
is.
can you make those. You have to assume that they both miss all those possessions and you make all those possessions.
Well,
And
you hit a couple threes, you draw a couple fouls. It's possible.
not when you're missing,
Less,
though.
as I said, less possible when you miss your shots.
Lowenthal laying it in. Oh, goodness. I think it is. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and call it for the Voodoo. Unless the Spectrums can show us something absolutely insane here, it's might be done and dusted. And yeah, they're forcing threes now, and that might be it. Unless something happens. But Kim, he wants to show off a bit as he just fades away in the quick shot.
Celebrating a little early there.
I don't blame him. I mean,
No.
they're about to go up 3-1 in this series, about to head home.
You got that 14-point lead. As that window closes more and more for Santa Ana to come back from behind, this will be definitely a huge win for the Voodoo.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm surprised the Voodoo are even bothering to take shots right now. They could just burn the shot clock down and either make the Spectrums foul them, and I think that's finally what they're going to do here. Up by 12. They really just have to hold the ball, and they can just take the shot clock violations at this point. Just don't let any time be left on the game clock.
Yeah, I think both teams recognize that as we're, finally seeing the Voodoo run out the clock a little bit.
And even then, another second chance opportunity converted by River. And he's definitely a player that, between him and Kim, he's my player of the game. And it will answer back with one of his own. And even though he's put up a lot of points, he did go a bit cold here in the second half.
It's true.
Oh, Vilka just left so open. Now they're just padding their stats here.
Well, if you can win away, that's one thing. If you can destroy the other team away, that's that's bragging rights right there.
But does it create a motivating factor? Because, if the Spectrums were able... Oh, my gosh. How do you hit that hook shot with that kind of contact?
See, that's demotivation for me. You see that happening, and if you're the Spectrums and just watching these shots, this almost impossible shots being made, you're just well, do we have a chance in Biloxi? Next game, it's pretty clear that it's probably going to end up being a 3-1 series by the end of this game.
No, the Spectrums are going to score almost 20 points in the last 24 seconds of game.
You know what? Again, I believe anything.
Well, now that they've subbed all their bench players on the floor, I don't believe. I'm sorry. I no longer believe. And they will just actually burn the shot clock out and the game
Yeah.
clock. And London will take a final three heave. No good. And we'll dive into the
Wow.
stats. And Tyrese definitely stepped up again tonight. He was quiet to start the game, but he really picked it up there and almost put up a 20-20 game. Just not able. He didn't get enough possessions. If he was shooting that high efficiency, I feel like they needed to get him the ball more.
Absolutely.
But again, all the players they did show up tonight. I mean, you see Jin Sung Lee also up 16 points. Aditya 15. His field goal percentage definitely trailed to the not so great side in that second half. Seba 10 points, 5 for 8. Kiara did struggle. I mean, she kept trying to put up those threes. 1 for 7. Tanked her
Four,
field goal percentage.
14 out of 15, 4 out of 15. That's just,
Well, to be fair, I mean, she was 3 of 8 if you don't count her threes.
it's
And
still not great.
it's still not great. But the bench also started to crumble there for the Spectrums in that second half, as we see. I mean, Gold getting it done with that three-pointer gave him a little bit of life, but like I said, just not enough production when they needed it. It looked like they had finally found the answer, but the voodoo Malone, and we'll dive into his stats because he absolutely was a factor. But here we go. Sterling, a 2020 game. Kim, 21 points, 7 assists, 2 steals, 10 for 18. Vilka even picked up a little bit there at the end, 14 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. The three-point game was quiet for everyone tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Lowenthal, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 2 of which were offensive, and that's another factor. Sterling, 3 offensive rebounds. Lowenthal, 2 offensive rebounds. River, 5 offensive rebounds with 22 points. I think he put up 10 points just from his offensive rebounds alone.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And then there's Malone. Honestly, I would throw player of the game to him. When they were down, he stepped it up with those. He put up those 2 threes and I think 2 field goals. Most of his scoring came when they were in trouble. And he
Series MVP right there.
Oh goodness, I swear, if he won Finals MVP as the sixth for, I think there A might be a riot, and B he might have to retire before being murdered by one of his players.
It's true. That's very true.
Uh, and the bench really wasn't as needed with Malone stepping up for them. I mean, he took the majority of their shots there. And I didn't want to look at the team comparison because it was such a close game except for that final quarter.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at you mentioned the offensive rebounds, and I definitely agree that that was where the Voodoo definitely ran away with their win this evening.
Yeah, I mean, third quarter, it absolutely looked like they had built a lead. But look, 42 points to 16. That was just heartbreaking if you were a Spectrums fan watching that happen. I'm sure some players started to leave, some fans started to leave the game thinking that they had locked it up. Get an early commute out, and just, the Voodoo absolutely destroyed them in that fourth quarter.
100%.
And look at that, as you said, almost double the offensive rebound, 17 compared to 9. It's
Yeah.
one thing if both teams do it, but one team to just outright dominate there, and you see the second chance points, 14-2. That right there would have brought it back to a 103-98 game if that difference was the same.
Well, and I mentioned a little bit before, like the fatigue is definitely palpable on these players, especially in kind of Santa Ana's younger roster here. Not a lot of them are used to playing these 100 game, uh, you know,
Yeah,
uh, runs.
they may have played 30 in college, and that was it.
Yeah, and so that's probably another contributing factor here. The especially since the Voodoo almost always seem to go very far in the playoffs. And so for them, it's just like, oh yeah, this is another another season. And so you've got this kind of unique situation where Santa Ana is um, doing their best to find these energy reserves and like you said, match the Voodoo's pace of play. I think honestly, like the Voodoo was giving them a little bit of a buffer there to again just kind of get them used to this pace and then just blow them out the water.
Yeah. I mean, any thoughts, I guess, before we wrap this up about going back to Biloxi now? A 3-1 series. You called it in 7 for Santa Ana. I feel like that is a tough mountain to climb now as they go on the road after this
Oh,
loss.
absolutely. Not anything that hasn't been done before, but at the same time, Santa Ana is definitely going to have to. I mean, let's be realistic. They have to win the like 300 next 4 games, and that's going to be tough. Um,
They have to win all. It's 3 out of 3.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I say, like, are we going 8-game series now?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all been a blur, really. Just this whole series so far has been so back and forth. It almost feels like one giant narrative here. Um, and yeah, no, that like when if you're the Voodoo, you're at this point, you're just like, okay, we just need one game. Come on, guys, we do one game all the time in the season. Like we're known for taking these clutch situations and running with them. uh and they've like you said, they've got 3 opportunities for that just one game. And so even and especially as they come back home.
For 2 of them.
uh yeah. Well, I mean, this next game for
Yeah.
sure. And then
If they go all
if
7, they get home twice.
exactly. And we all know that the Biloxi's home court advantage is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in the league. Um, and that could be the deciding factor in this upcoming game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm rooting for the Spectrums to continue this, push it. I did call Biloxi in 5. If Malone does make the winning free throws, I do get a steak dinner. However, I don't want this series to end. This has been great basketball from both teams. A roller coaster of a ride, and I'm ready for Game 5 back in Biloxi in a couple days. And any final thoughts before we close off for the night?
Yeah, I absolutely can't wait for it. I mentioned my boy JC Gold playing for the Spectrum, seeing him step up a little bit today was nice. But the rest of the teams gotta get to that level. I think if they have any chance of surviving the Voodoo in the next couple of games, they all really need to put like. This is do or die, guys. Like this is, if you lose, it's over. So you have to put everything out on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no okay, well, I'm waiting for next game, because there might not be a next game.
Well, I mean, I certainly hope these players will be back next season. But you're right. This is could be the last game of the 2021 season, and you do not want to come all this way and then go out on a whimper.
Yeah, you don't want any regrets coming out. And both of these teams, like when they're pressed up against the wall, as we've seen tonight, they pull out some really amazing stuff. And so it's almost like you've got the immovable rock against the impassable mountain. Well, the mountain's winning right now, but that doesn't mean the rock is going to move. So I've still got hope for Santa Ana in 7. um, Especially if their back is up against that wall. Like they're gonna. We've seen worse teams play better than that in previous series. So
Yeah, well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This was a wonderful Game 4. We'll be back for Game 5 coming up in Biloxi, as I mentioned. I've been Ryan Eastman, and thank you once again, Christopher, for joining me in the booth.
yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I always love come out and do these things with you. But yeah, this series especially has just been so much fun. Thank you for having.
And we'll catch y'all next game. Have a good night.
Good night.